After 3 years of betrayal, a heartwarming revelation exposed their incredible life-changing bond. In the quiet hum of suburbia, Jamie's heart thumped like a war drum. She swallowed hard, trying to suppress the anxiety gnawing at her insides. Her world, once filled with laughter and dreams, had crumbled under the weight of harsh realities. At 38, she was a devoted single mother, pouring every ounce of her being into 2 jobs at the local diner and the grocery store, just to scrape by. And while she wore a brave face for her daughter, Lily, and her ailing father, a once proud veteran now lost in sorrow, Jamie knew a festering fear was settling into their lives. Somewhere along this choked path of survival, Lily had sprouted wings, and not just any wings. At 15, her daughter had formed an unexpected bond with Alex, a wealthy classmate, whose very presence radiated all the things Jamie had longed for but could never grasp. The resentment bubbled beneath her skin, hot and unsettling. It was one fateful afternoon when Jamie discovered that Alex had manipulated Lily into handing over a cherished family heirloom, a locket that had been passed down through generations. A betrayal so deep, it shook Jamie to her core, leaving her breathless and trembling from the emotional blow. Tears sparkled in her eyes as she confronted Lily, the words spilling out like jagged glass. "How could you?" Jamie's voice cracked, loaded with hurt. The air around them thickened with unspoken anger and sorrow. It stood between them like a brick wall, growing taller with each passing moment. In the halcyon days of their simpler lives, family had been everything. Now, that very foundation was starting to splinter, leaving Jamie to wrestle with a fierce doubt about whether she was enough for Lily. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The days turned into a blur of fleeting smiles and heavy sighs. Jamie's friends from the diner rallied around her, sharing their own stories of struggles, offering help in small but profound ways. The warmth of their community became a lifeline she clung to, yet with every passing day, the space between her and Lily continued to widen. Tension crescendoed during heart-wrenching discussions that often spiraled into misunderstandings, each clash echoing louder in the confines of their home. Just when Jamie had resigned herself to the idea that reconciliation was a lost cause, something miraculous happened. A local charity event lifted their realities into a different orbit. It was there that the true character of Alex flickered to life, unveiled under the soft glow of fairy lights. As Jamie and Lily witnessed his genuine compassion, the bitterness within Jamie began to thaw, illuminating a glimmer of hope within the darkness. But as they prepared to mend the fragile threads of their bond, a shocking revelation cast a new tempest upon their dreams. The very foundation of Jamie's values and the future she envisioned for Lily hung in the balance. What depths would they have to dive into to salvage what was broken? The air crackled with tension, leaving them poised on the brink of transformation. Would Jamie and Lily finally emerge together, hand in hand? Or would the shadows of betrayal forever cast a pall over their lives? The answer loomed, heavy with anticipation. Jamie's heart raced as she stood in the haze of the charity event, the mixture of hope and fear swirling within her. She stole a glance at Lily, who was chatting with Alex, the soft light illuminating her daughter's face. For a fleeting moment, Jamie felt a pang of envy, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of longing for the simple, carefree days they once shared. But that feeling quickly shifted back to a sharp anger when she remembered the betrayal that had nearly shattered their world. She clenched her fists, forcing herself to breathe. She had fought too hard to let this moment slip away without reclaiming her daughter. With a swift movement, Jamie made her way across the crowded room, dodging cheerful faces and jovial laughter. The vibrant atmosphere contrasted so starkly with her heartache that it felt surreal. As she approached, she caught fragments of Lily's laughter, light and airy. It twisted in her stomach, feeding into her insecurities. What did Alex have that she didn't? A life without struggle? A heart that felt so easily, without the weight of guilt and regret? Lily, she called, her voice strong yet laced with a tremor that belied her stress. The instant her daughter's eyes met hers, the tension returned, crackling in the air like static before a storm. Mom, we're just talking, Lily replied, the brightness dimming from her visage. Alex is really nice. He just wants to help. Help? Jamie echoed, her tone sharper than she intended. Or is he just trying to manipulate you again? A few heads turned toward her, the ether of silence demanded, and Jamie felt heat creep up her cheeks. She gripped the edge of the nearby table, willing herself to calm down. Stop it, Mom. You don't get it, Lily retorted, her voice rising, frustration spilling over the edges of her carefully guarded emotions. Alex is not the villain. I don't want to lose him. Can't you at least try to understand? I want to protect you, Lily. It's my job to keep you safe by pushing me away, by accusing my friends. Wouldn't it be nice if you try to trust me for once? Don't you see how hard this is for me? The pain in her daughter's voice cut through Jamie like a knife, making her heart ache. Jamie flinched, the accusations raining down like a downpour. She had forged her entire life around protecting Lily, but perhaps she had pushed too hard. Could she be becoming the very thing she loathed, the overbearing mother? Caught in a web of conflicting emotions, Jamie's anger began to falter, and she took a small step toward vulnerability. I want what's best for you, Lily. You're everything to me. But I think I'm scared too. Lily's eyes softened, searching Jamie's face for the underlying truth. I'm learning, Mom. You have to trust me. We can be okay, but you have to let go a little. In this sacred moment, amidst the vibrant chaos of the event, something shifted between them. A beacon of understanding flickered alive, bringing forth the possibility of healing. Can we at least try? Jamie whispered, desperate to bridge the distance that had grown like a chasm, dividing them. Lily hesitated, studying her mother's face, a mixture of worry, love, and hope. But before she could respond, Alex walked up, offering a tentative smile. The atmosphere turned tense again. Jamie felt the rush of protective instinct surge back, but then she remembered the gentle warmth that flickered beneath the surface of their shared pain. As she prepared to respond, her heart began to race anew, not from fear alone, but from something that resembled acceptance. But what Jamie didn't see coming was the question Alex posed next, a seemingly innocent one that would change everything. What would you do if I told you I haven't been entirely honest with you both? Jamie's mouth went dry. The air thickened, and the laughter that once surrounded them faded to a dull hum. The tension was palpable. The question hung in the air like a threat, a promise, and a plea all at once. She looked at Lily, whose brow furrowed with confusion and concern. What do you mean, Alex? Lily's voice was a whisper, barely breaking through the silence. Alex's smile faltered, and Jamie could see the conflict flash in his eyes. I've been trying to help you both face some hard truths. He shifted on his feet, discomfort evident in his posture. There's something I need to tell you, something that could change how you both see everything. Jamie felt the muscles in her stomach tighten. This wasn't the time or place for revelations. Not here, in this vibrant hall filled with well-dressed guests and a cacophony of chatter. But she also knew this might be the moment they both needed, the moment that could crack the shell encasing their hearts. Please. Lily's voice shook. If you have something to say, just say it. Jamie's pulse quickened, a warning bell ringing in her ears. What could he possibly say that would alter their fragile dynamic? The memories of past betrayals bubbled to the surface, flashing before her like clips from a movie she couldn't bear to watch. Alex paused, searching for his words. I've been talking to your mother, Jamie, about everything the last few months, even when you weren't aware. Jamie's heart dropped. What do you mean everything? You've been talking to me? Alex nodded, his expression earnest. I didn't want to keep it a secret, but I was trying to protect you both, especially you, Lily. You've been struggling to reconcile your feelings about your father and our past together. I thought if I could help bridge the gap, just a little. Jamie's breath caught in her throat. Bridge the gap? By lying? By being secretive? Do you think that's what you were doing? Anger seeped through her words. How could you think that was the right thing? Mom, stop. Lily interjected, her voice rising once more. Let him finish. The softness in her daughter's tone shocked Jamie. She looked at Lily, who appeared wildly conflicted, a whirlpool of emotions swirling just beneath her surface. Jamie had missed these cues. She had been so consumed with fear and protectiveness that she hadn't seen how much Lily was growing up on her own. Lily, Alex pressed on gently. I care about you. I really do. But there's something I haven't been brave enough to say. I think you should know the truth about your dad. Jamie's heart pounded loudly in her ears. What truth? Lily urged, eyes wide and gleaming with uncertainty. Alex shifted again, his gaze flickering between the two of them. I found something out. Something that could explain a lot about the past and your father's choices. I didn't want to burden you with it, but I think you deserve to know. You both do. Jamie's breath hitched as fear churned in her stomach. What could he possibly say that would explain the pain they had endured? Silence settled thickly around them, wrapping the questions in its embrace. Jamie could see that her daughter was on the verge of something, a need for understanding brightened by dimming hope. Please, Lily said again, her voice trembling. Just tell me. As Alex opened his mouth to speak, Jamie gripped the table hard, the world collapsing into the weight of his words. With uncertainty looming, she realized this revelation could either shatter them further or begin to heal those deep-seated wounds. What truth could possibly lie hidden in the past that would change everything? Alex took a deep breath, readying himself for the storm of emotions that was about to unleash. Lily, he started, his voice trembling slightly. Your father, he wasn't just a man of secrets. He was a man caught in circumstances far beyond his control. Jamie's hands were clammy on the table. She felt the room closing in on her, the laughter of the other guests a distant echo. She tried to read Lily's face, desperately hoping to gauge her reaction. What do you mean? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper now. What circumstances? Alex's gaze shifted, landing on Jamie for a brief moment before returning to Lily. I think your dad was involved in something that made him make choices that hurt the people he cared about. I found proof that he was trying to protect us, in a way. He didn't want to drag you into whatever was going on. He thought that disappearing would keep you safe. Jamie felt her heart plummet. Protecting? Was that how he justified abandoning them? She clenched her fists under the table, fighting back tears of frustration. Lily's eyes were shining with the kind of hope that Jamie hadn't seen in her for a long time. What kind of evidence? She asked, urgency building in her voice. Alex stepped closer, lowering his tone. I discovered old journals, letters. Everything points to the fact that he was scared. He made some dangerous enemies. He thought leaving was the only way to ensure your safety. But he left us. Jamie burst out, the anger spilling over. He chose to walk away instead of facing the truth with us. How could he think that was protecting us? Mom, please, Lily snapped, her eyes wide. Let him finish. Jamie felt a wave of guilt crash over her. She was being defensive, perhaps out of her own hurt. For a moment, she took a step back, trying to process what Alex was revealing. Lily needed answers, even if it stung. Alex continued. He didn't explain things to you because he thought you were too young to understand. But the truth is he never wanted to walk away. He was trying to shield you both from a deeper darkness. Then why didn't he come back? Lily's voice cracked, the pain piercing through her tightly guarded facade. If he cared, why not return? I don't know. Alex sighed, the regret heavy in his voice. But I think you deserve to know who your father really was, even if that means facing some unsettling truths. Jamie looked at her daughter in that moment, an unyielding determination etched into her features. For the first time, it felt like more than curiosity. It felt like a need to understand their family's broken history. Lily, you have to be careful with what you're feeling now, Jamie cautioned. This news can be overwhelming. But Lily's gaze was unwavering. No. If there's even a possibility that he loved us, that he was trying to protect us, I need to know everything. Her voice was stronger than Jamie had heard in a long time, fierce and resolute. The air thickened with the weight of unsaid words, and Jamie could feel the tremors in her mother's instinct battling against her daughter's burning need for truth. Are you two ready to dive into the past? Alex's earnest question hung heavily in the air as hope clashed with fear. Jamie looked at him, her heart racing. This moment felt monumental. She sensed they were at a crossroads, a place where either hope or pain could bloom. Are we ready? She echoed, the question lingering, to dig deeper into the dark corners of our family's secrets? Jamie's heart raced with the thought of unraveling more than just their past. Could this be the key to reclaiming their future? But all she could think was, how much of the truth would it take to heal them? Lily leaned forward, eyes narrowing with intensity. I need to see those journals. I need to hear what he was really afraid of. Her voice trembled but held a spark of fierce determination, igniting something between them that felt both terrifying and powerful. Jamie glanced at Alex, who nodded encouragingly. I'll get them, he promised. Already reaching for the worn leather bag at his side, as Alex stepped away, the atmosphere shifted. Jamie turned to Lily, searching her daughter's face for understanding. This could change everything, you know. There's no going back from this discovery. I don't care. The conviction in Lily's voice made Jamie's heart skip. She had watched her daughter bottle up emotions for so long, hiding behind a mask of indifference after her father left. Now, the possibility of truth had stripped away the facade. It was a mix of fear and hope that was raw and honest. Alex returned, cradling a few neatly bound journals. The cover of one was cracked, the corners worn from time and handling. He placed it gently on the table. This one first, he said, pointing. It's the oldest, and it might be the hardest to digest. But it's where everything began. Lily reached for it, her small hands trembling as she opened the cover. The pages were yellowed, inked in a hurried scrawl that revealed glimpses of a man Alexis' shadows had masked for many years. What was Dad really afraid of? She whispered, scanning the pages. How could he leave if it meant putting us in danger? Jamie felt her throat tighten, almost like a physical knot. Her eyes darted between the pages and her daughter, torn between wanting to shield her from further hurt and the need to reveal every hidden corner of their past. Let us find out together, Jamie urged, her own voice unexpectedly steady. Lily looked up, her eyes glowing with something akin to bravery. You'll be with me? I don't want to read this alone. Always, Jamie whispered, taking a moment to intertwine her fingers with her daughter's. As they continued to explore, the words flowed like a river of emotions. Desperation, fear, and love were laced in every entry. Alex watched quietly, letting them connect over the stories spilling from the pages. The bond between mother and daughter was palpable, a thread woven tighter as they unearthed unfamiliar truths about the man who had left them in silence. Then, almost unexpectedly, Lily gasped, bringing the reading to an abrupt halt. Mom, look at this entry. Jamie leaned closer. The words spoke of a promise made under a sky filled with stars, a vow to protect the girls at any cost. Is he talking about us? Lily's voice quavered, her eyes wide with disbelief. He called us his girls. Jamie's breath hitched, and tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. This was beyond revelation. It was a reminder that, despite the abandonment, their father had loved them. He had fought against his circumstances, even if it seemed futile. But why leave? Lily pressed, her brow furrowing. Why not tell us? Why not fight? Alex cleared his throat, his expression heavy. Sometimes, the fight isn't just won by staying. Sometimes, letting go is all you can do to protect the ones you love. The uncertainty and pain hung between them like a fragile curtain. Jamie could feel the heaviness of the past cloaking their hearts. The truth they sought continued to twist, inviting more questions than answers. What else did he hide? Lily whispered, looking down at the journal like it might reveal more secrets. As Jamie took a deep breath, she felt the blend of grief and hope in her heart. They were unraveling something potentially life-altering, but they still stood on the brink of darkness. The weight of the unresolved secrets grew heavier. Maybe it's time to confront the darkness ourselves, Jamie suggested softly, looking at Alex. If we're going to heal, we need to face everything, even the things we fear the most. The air thickened with potential outcome, and all three felt the power of the truths yet to come. What happens now? Lily asked, her voice trembling with apprehension. Now, Alex replied, his tone low and serious. We uncover what drove your father to make those choices. We dig deeper until we find the truth. Are you both ready for that? The question loomed like an unanswered prayer in the silence, weighing heavy on their hearts. In that moment, they stood at the edge of discovery, uncertain if the answers they sought would lead to healing or deeper wounds. But as their collective heartbeat echoed in the room, the flickering hope remained. Let us find out together, Jamie said, her resolve strengthening. Could they all face whatever darkness lay ahead, together? Lily's breath hitched as she stared at the journal, the words swirling in her mind. How could a man, who had so boldly promised to protect them, abandon them? There was a mix of anger and heartache brewing inside her, and she needed to understand. "Can I read another part?" she asked, her voice small but resolute. "Of course," Jamie encouraged, squeezing her daughter's hand. "Take your time." Taking a deep breath, Lily dove back into the pages. The words felt like ghostly whispers of a life they could have had, a father's hopes dashed against the jagged rocks of uncertainty. "I found something," she said finally, her voice trembling. "He talks about a family secret. Something that scared him." "What do you mean?" Jamie leaned closer, captivated. Lily's finger traced the faded ink. "I fear that if they knew the truth, they would never forgive me." What truth could be so terrible? Her forehead creased in confusion, memories of her father's absence bubbling to the surface. Alex cleared his throat, stepping in. "Sometimes secrets protect us, but they can also suffocate us." "It's complicated, Lily." Jamie watched as the lines of worry deepened on her daughter's face. Her heart ached to know the decisions weighing her father down. "We can face it together, whatever it is," she said, her voice steady. "That's what families do." Lily's eyes flickered with uncertainty, but then she nodded. "Okay, let us keep going." Hours passed as they dove deeper into the journal entries, each revelation a mix of heart-wrenching truths and faint glimmers of love. The pages chronicled a man torn between family and the fears that gripped him. There were mentions of arguments, strained relationships, and shadows lurking in their lives, things Jamie never knew he had battled against. "Look here," Lily began, her finger pausing at the page. "He talks about a man named Sam, someone who threatened our safety. He claimed that Sam had ties to something sinister." Jamie's heart quickened. "Sam? I've heard that name before. I thought it was just a ghost story. But if he was real, if he was part of why your father left, we have to dig deeper into this." Lily looked at her mother, eyes wide. "What if it was bigger than we thought? What if he left to protect us from something dangerous?" Alex's gaze grew somber. "That would explain why he felt he had to go. If it was his choice to shield you both, it must have been terrifying for him." Each word was a weight they carried, expanding the bond between them, while also stretching the scars of their past. Yet, amidst the shadows, a sliver of light flickered. They weren't just uncovering their father's fears, they were learning his love. As they reached the chapter's end, Lily shut the book gently. "I feel like I know him a little better now. He loved us enough to fight against something, even if that meant leaving." Jamie wiped away a stubborn tear that had rolled down her cheek. "And that's something we can hold on to. It might not change how we feel about his absence, but it adds another layer to our understanding. We can find a way to honor him together." "Mom," Lily said, a sudden urgency in her voice. "If we're uncovering his truth, should we look into Sam? Find out who he really was?" Jamie searched her daughter's determined face, sensing the stakes rising. The notion stirred something fierce within her. "Yes, but it may not be easy, and it could be dangerous." "We'll do it together," Lily whispered. As the resolve settled in the air, Jamie caught a glimpse of something they both shared: courage born from fear. They had weathered storms alone before, but this storm felt different. "Then let us get ready," Jamie said, her heart racing with the shift in their journey. "It's time we take control of our story. Who knows what we'll find?" As they prepared to untangle the threads of the past, a storm of emotions swirled around them, both exhilarating and terrifying. What awaited them was unknown, but all three felt the pulse of a bond deepening as the quest for truth beckoned. "Are you ready to uncover what lies beneath it all?" Alex asked, looking at both women with an intensity that grounded them. With that question hanging in the air, they braced themselves for what was to come. Little did they know, the truth would force them into battles they never anticipated, pushing each of them to their limits. What would they all discover about themselves in the process? The night air was thick with anticipation, charged with the unspoken fears and hopes that lay just beneath the surface. Jamie could feel it, the weight of what was to come. Together, the three of them stood in a circle, a team united not just by blood but by the quest for understanding. "Where do we start?" Lily broke the silence, her voice steady despite the tremor of anxiety that rippled through her. Jamie glanced at Alex. "Do you think there's a way to trace Sam? Maybe the local library holds some records. We can start there, see if there are any newspaper articles if he is still around." "That could work," Alex said, nodding slowly. "Digging into the past might reveal more about what made your father leave." but we should also prepare for what we might uncover. Lily felt her heart race. She wasn't ready to let go of the sliver of hope she had gained from the journal. I need this, she whispered. I need to know who he was, how he loved us. If I find out he was just afraid, if it was all for us, her voice trailed off, optimism mingling with uncertainty. Jamie's hand found her daughter's shoulder, squeezing gently. We'll get through this together. You won't have to face anything alone. They made their way to the small-town library, the familiar creak of the door fading behind them as they entered into the quiet. Dust motes danced in the muted light, creating a surreal atmosphere as they navigated through the rows of books. The smell of aging paper tugged at Jamie's heart, a reminder of the stories that lived and breathed in the pages. Let us split up, Alex suggested. I can check the archives for news articles. You two could look for anything in the local history section. Maybe we can find something about families tied to Sam. Lily nodded, a sense of purpose filling her. Okay, let us do this. She and Jamie made their way to a section filled with old, leather-bound volumes. As they flipped through pages of town records, Lily's hands trembled slightly. Each letter seemed to pulse with history. She broke the silence, her eyes catching a glimpse of something intriguing. Mom, look at this, the Sullivan family. They had some sort of conflict with a man named Sam. Here, it says something about town disputes and a tragic accident. Jamie leaned closer, reading over her shoulder. An accident? What kind of accident? Lily continued, reading aloud. It doesn't say much, but it mentions something that happened years ago, a fire. A chill ran down her spine. What if this fire was tied to what Dad was scared of? Let us see if there's more, Jamie encouraged, pushing back the unease that crept in. As they continued searching, the pages seemed to unveil a darker side of their town's history. Each new detail built on their questions. How could one man be the center of so much fear? After what felt like hours, Alex rejoined them. His expression was grave. I found something. It appears Sam was part of a group involved in some shady dealings. And his ties to certain families here were stronger than we thought. It looks like your father got mixed up with these people somehow. Lily's pulse quickened. So it wasn't just fear, it was danger? Exactly, Alex said, his voice low. And it seems your father did everything he could to protect you both. He walked away to keep you safe. Jamie took a shaky breath, the emotions crashing like waves. He chose to fight, even if it meant leaving us. He loved us so much, Lily. The tears in Lily's eyes glimmered with understanding. What if we could connect the pieces? If we learn more about Sam's group, maybe we can uncover why he felt so threatened. Yes, Jamie said, the determination in her voice rising. And whatever we discover, we'll face it together. There's no going back now. But just as they resolved to dig deeper, an unsettling feeling crept over Jamie, a gnawing intuition that they were opening doors that perhaps were best left closed. The librarian approached them, her brow furrowed. You all seem quite engrossed in a story, she said, her tone curious and a bit cautious. Just looking into local history, Jamie replied. But the librarian's gaze lingered, her expression shifting. Careful, she warned softly. Some stories want to stay buried. Not everything from the past is meant to be uncovered. Her words echoed in the air, sending a shiver through Jamie. What had they just awakened? Unsure of what awaited them next, Jamie exchanged glances with Lily and Alex, a shared realization stealing their breath. They were stepping into the unknown, and the weight of their journey was heavier than ever. Are you ready to dig deeper, knowing there's no turning back? Lily asked, determination flashing in her eyes. And as they stood on the precipice of revelation, Jamie felt the firm grip of fear twisting with hope. How much were they willing to risk to uncover the truth? The shadows in the library seemed to stretch longer as tension filled the air. Jamie took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the librarian's warning clinging to her like a thick fog. We need to keep going, she finally said, her voice steady though her insides felt like they were in turmoil. If we want answers about Sam, we can't let fear hold us back. Lily nodded, her resolve shining through the flicker of doubt. Let us find out everything we can. There has to be more information about him, about this accident. Alex, still holding the stack of articles he had gathered, stepped forward. I found a name. It's linked to Sam and that fire. The person was mentioned a few times as a witness, but their story seems incomplete. Jamie's heart raced. Can we find any family ties? Maybe someone who still lives here? In that moment, determination pushed them forward. They delved back into the history section, flipping through ancient texts and faded photographs. Each discovery felt like peeling back layers of time, revealing a world that had silently shaped their OWNAS. Jamie sifted through one particularly dusty tome. A weathered photograph slipped from its pages, fluttering to the floor. She picked it up, her breath catching as she recognized the face of an older man, sharply dressed, with an intensity in his eyes that looked hauntingly familiar. "What is it?" Lily asked, peering over her shoulder. "Look," Jamie said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's him. This must be Sam." They studied the picture intently. The man radiated charisma, but there was also a heaviness in his expression, a shadow of torment that hinted at the turmoil within. Suddenly, Alex spoke with urgency. "Wait, if this guy was part of something dangerous, then maybe that's why he disappeared. But this photo, who took it? Could it be a clue?" Jamie set the photo down with a sense of reverence. "We need to find out who took these pictures. Maybe the photographer had more information." As they continued to search, Jamie could feel the air thicken around them. Each discovery was a step deeper into a labyrinth, and she questioned whether they could handle what lay at the center. "I just hope we're ready for whatever we find," she muttered, the tension giving way to a deep-seated anxiety. Lily turned and searched her mother's face. "Mom, no matter what, we're together. That's what matters." For a moment, Jamie's heart swelled with gratitude for her daughter's strength. Yet even that warmth couldn't chase away the gripping fear that had settled into her bones. Hours slipped away, and when Lily stumbled upon a newspaper article hidden in an old ledger, it felt like a floodgate had opened. The headline screamed, "Tragic fire claims lives of innocent witnesses speak out." "Oh my God, this is it!" Jamie exclaimed, rushing over as Lily's eyes widened in shock. The article detailed the incident, recounting horrifying tales of that night, where flames had engulfed a house, leaving remnants of shattered dreams in its wake. Woven into the words was Sam's name, framed against allegations of foul play. "Sam didn't just leave us, he was running from something," Lily murmured, the gravity of the situation weighing heavy on her. Alex frowned, flipping through pages. "But why hasn't anyone talked about this? Why is it buried?" Just then, the librarian approached them again, her silence now a cloud of tension surrounding her. "I thought I made myself clear," she began, but Jamie held up a hand, determination blazing in her eyes. "We need to know," Jamie said fiercely, almost pleading. "We can't just walk away. Not now." The librarian's narrow gaze softened slightly. "Some truths can unravel lives. Are you sure this is the path you want to take?" Jamie felt her heart race, as if she could hear the pounding of her own blood in her ears. "This is our life. We deserve to know what happened." The librarian hesitated, then slowly said, "Then perhaps you should talk to an old friend of Sam's. He can answer questions about the night of the fire." Jamie exchanged looks with Lily and Alex, a rush of adrenaline mingling with terror. This was a chance, but was it wise? "Where can we find him?" Lily asked, voice trembling with eagerness. The librarian nodded towards the door. "He often frequents a cafe just down the road. But be careful. Some truths have a way of leading to pain." As they prepared to leave, Jamie felt the weight of the library behind them and the uncertain mystery ahead. The journey was far from over, and their desire to pry open old wounds led them deeper into a world laced with danger. "Are we really ready for this?" Alex asked, his voice low, but the fire ignited in them was undeniable. "We have to be," Jamie replied, knowing full well they might be standing on the edge of something profound. What awaited them at that cafe could challenge everything they thought they knew, and the truth about Sam loomed just out of reach. Without further hesitation, they stepped into the world outside, a fresh resolve hardening their spirits. But doubt whispered behind them, what would they uncover next? The cafe bustled with activity, the scent of roasted coffee beans weaving its way through the air. Jamie felt a flutter of nerves as they approached the entrance, her heart pounding a steady rhythm in her chest. She glanced at Lily and Alex, both of whom wore expressions of cautious determination, ready for whatever revelations awaited them. "Do you have any idea what he's going to say?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they stepped inside. "No clue," Jamie replied. "But we need answers." "Let us." Just before she could finish her thought, a soft chime resonated above them, announcing their arrival. They moved to the counter, eyeing the patrons scattered around the space. Most were engrossed in their conversations or laptops. But one figure caught Jamie's eye, a man sitting alone in the corner, his face partially obscured by shadows, deep in thought as he stirred his coffee. "That has to be him," Alex said, his voice low. "The friend." Jamie nodded, her pulse quickening. They approached cautiously, anxiety mixing with hope. Would he believe them? Would he be willing to share the truth? As they reached the table, the man looked up, revealing deep-set eyes that held stories of pain and resilience. "Excuse me," Jamie started, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Are you Jonah?" He peered at them, curiosity brewing in his gaze. "Yes, that's me. Can I help you?" "Hi, I'm Jamie," she said, gesturing to Lily and Alex. "This is my daughter, Lily, and our friend, Alex. We're looking for information about Sam." At the mention of Sam's name, Jonah's expression shifted. Shadows flickered across his face, emotions wavering just beneath the surface. "Sam, I didn't expect anyone to come looking for him. Not after all this time. We need to understand what happened that night of the fire," Jamie pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. "There are pieces left out of the story, bits that could help us." Jonah's eyes narrowed slightly. He seemed to consider their request, the weight of the past settling heavily around them. "You really want to know the truth?" His voice was low, almost cautious, but Jamie could hear the tremor of emotion beneath it. "Yes," Lily chimed in, her young face full of fervor. "We have to know." With a heavy sigh, Jonah leaned back, running a hand over his face. "All right, but this is not an easy story to tell. You might not like what you hear." "Anything is better than silence," Jamie insisted. Jonah nodded, his brow furrowing as he began to speak. "It was a chaotic night. We were all there, and it felt surreal. Sam acted as if he knew something was coming. There was this heaviness in the air that night. He was worried, but he never explained why as he spoke. Each word hung in the air like a delicate thread, intertwining with their emotions. Jamie could feel the deepening tension in the room, the questions burning brightly in her mind like the flames of the fire they were trying to unpack. "The fire," he continued, his gaze flicking away momentarily. "It wasn't just an accident. Someone was involved. We all felt it." Jamie held her breath, the reality of his words igniting a firestorm of fear within her. "But who? And why didn't you come forward?" Jonah's eyes darkened. "Because we were scared. Scared of the repercussions. Scared of what it meant to uncover the truth." The gravity of Jonah's words hit Jamie like a punch. They were peeling back layers of pain, exposing wounds that still bled, and she wondered if they were prepared for the weight of that truth. "Then why tell us now?" Alex asked, his voice trembling with curiosity and fear. "Because it feels wrong to stay silent," Jonah replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "Sam was a good man, and he didn't deserve to carry this burden alone." In that moment, Jamie felt the walls of the cafe close in around her. The stakes were rising, and she sensed they were all on the brink of something monumental. Would they find justice for Sam? Or would they unearth horrors that could tear them apart? "Please," Jamie implored, leaning in closer. "You must tell us everything you know." Jonah's hesitant expression morphed into one of grim resolve. "All right, but brace yourselves, because everything you think you know is about to change." As he began to reveal the events of that fateful night, Jamie felt an intense mix of hope and dread flood through her. What if the truth was more than they could handle? What if it led them to danger? Because in the coming moments, they could either find the courage to face the truth or be consumed by the shadows of the past. The dim light of the cafe felt fragile around them as Jonah's voice began weaving through the air. Each word he spoke was heavy with secrets that had long been buried. Jamie felt as if they were being pulled deeper into a twisting story, one where each twist could either set them free or trap them forever. "Sam was involved with people who didn't play fair," Jonah said, his voice steady yet laced with urgency. The tension thickened. There was talk of deals going wrong, debts to settle, and threats that shadowed him. "But he went into hiding to keep you both safe." Lily's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and understanding dawning upon her. "My dad didn't just walk away, he was forced into hiding?" The realization struck her hard, and Jamie could see the gears turning in her daughter's mind, flipping old resentments into a new perspective. "Yes," Jonah confirmed, sadness deepening his voice. He felt responsible for getting mixed up with people like Sam. The night of the fire, he was trying to cut ties. He thought by distancing himself, he would keep you safe. It was a nightmare you were blissfully unaware of. Jamie's heart sank. But that doesn't justify leaving us like that. Tears threatened to cascade down her cheeks, but she held strong. He could have faced this together. We could have helped him. Or it could have put you in harm's way, Jonah countered gently. The truth is messy, and sometimes love means making sacrifices, even painful ones. Lily clenched her fists, pain and anger battling within her. But we were never afraid of the truth. We just wanted him back. Yes, Jonah agreed. But there was concern for you both, something darker looming. After the fire, things escalated. Sam had to ensure you stayed out of the crosshairs. He was protecting you even while he was gone. The weight of Jonah's words seeped in, and Jamie felt the rapid heartbeat of doubt shift into a heart of compassion. Despite the betrayal, a flicker of love for a man who had been lost in shadows surfaced, illuminating their history with hope. Perhaps they could understand him, perhaps they could forgive. So what do we do now? Lily asked, determination hardening her voice. How do we find him? How do we honor what he did for us? Jonah leaned forward, the shadows casting a determined facade. You dig deeper. There's a lot of unfinished business. If you want to find Sam, you'll have to investigate further. Talk to others, uncover his associates, and confront your family's past. It's fraught with danger, but if you want to uncover the truth, you can't turn back now. Jamie's heart raced in sympathy and fear. They were on the brink of a perilous journey, but as she looked into Lily's eyes, she saw the younger girl's bravery mirrored in her own. They had both grown, understanding their father in a way they hadn't thought possible. Okay, we will search for him, Jamie finally said, resolve setting in. If it means that much to you, we'll move forward together. We're not backing down now. Lily nodded fiercely, strength blooming in her chest despite the uncertainty rolling through her. We'll find the connections. We'll unravel this, even if it's painful. Together. Jonah gave a slow nod, relief flooding his expression. And remember, there are people who, though you may think they're enemies, could help as well. Discover the past, and you'll navigate the future. As they stood up to leave, Jamie felt a wave of solidarity. Thank you, Jonah. Thank you for trusting us. His warm smile met her gratitude, bringing a sense of relief that even shadows couldn't erase. Go find the truth. It's out there waiting, he added as they stepped out of the cafe. The air felt lighter, charged with renewed purpose. Hand in hand, Jamie and Lily shared a momentary glance, a silent promise to boost each other onto the next step. In that moment, she felt the old bitterness start to fade. They weren't just a mother and daughter anymore. They were warriors of their own story, ready to unearth their shared legacy and mend the torn fabric of their family. With the sun setting softly, they moved forward, determined to confront the past, mold it, and shape their future. Each step echoed with the sound of their laughter, resonating freely and fearlessly. This was the beginning of reclaiming their lives, their love, and ultimately, their family. As they walked towards the horizon, a new warmth took root in their hearts, entwining hope around each other as spirits. And this time, they would face whatever came next not as shattered pieces, but as a unified force. They were ready to uncover their truth, and nothing could dim the brilliance of that moment. This is it, a new chapter in their lives, intertwined with courage, hope, and unbreakable bonds. Are you feeling this journey with us? Subscribe immediately to the channel, because you need to be the first to witness the next exclusive discoveries and transformations. That leave a like now if this story resonates with your heart. Feed that algorithm and share the love. Comment below with your reactions and thoughts, because we want to hear how this ending hit you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Don't hesitate. Don't wait, not even one more second, to let them in on this journey. Only true fans understand how vital your support is for us, and it matters now more than ever.